Hello, and welcome to Rock Your Block, where we are here highlighting individuals who are making an impact in our community. I'm your host, Larry Laws, and on today's segment of First Home Alliance, I would like to welcome back to our show the highly skilled Principal Advisor and Executive Director of Military Affairs for Home Savings and Trust Mortgage, Sergeant Major Marshall Williams, United States Army, retired. Well, it's hard to get that retired out of there.
It is.
Yeah.
It's not hard to do it, though.
Not hard to do. Yeah, I understand. You can take a person out of the military, but it's a little hard to get the military out of them.
Amen.
Yes.
Amen.
And you are actually not just part of a military family. You are a military family.
That's true.
Yes.
So my wife, Terry, is retired Army.
Cool.
Right? And she currently now works for a government agency, so it's continuing that federal service. My son is currently a paratrooper in Alaska. In fact, I was just there for the holidays, and trust me, Alaska is not where you really want to be in December.
Yes, and congratulations on those accomplishments there.
Yeah, thank you.
I understand he finished the academy.
Yes.
And the last I heard, he was a rigger.
He is a rigger, and all he does now is jump. All he wants to do is jump. So he's really where he wants to be.
Yeah, so you know how to pack the shoes, but he's jumping out of
There
those
you go.
shoes now.
There you
go. Cover a little bit. How did you meet Terry?
Terry and I met in the military. I was actually stationed in Korea. Terry was stationed, where was she? She was in Denver. She was actually at U.S. Space Command in Denver, working on an Air Force base. I was in Korea. I was supposed to be going home or going to the States. I had already served my year.
Yes.
I found out that I had been extended for another 6 months. I wasn't a happy camper.
Yes.
I went in and talked to my first sergeant. What can we do? Because I need to go back to the States. I've been in the field for a long time.
Yes.
He said, look, I'll send you to this school called Master Fitness Trainer, right? It's at Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indiana.
Correct.
I get to Fort Benjamin Harrison, Indiana. The first person I see getting out of a cab is this beautiful girl in a blue dress with all the luggage you can possibly imagine. It was my wife.
Yes.
I said that at that day that I'm going to make sure that I get to know her for the rest of my life, and we did.
Oh, it's great. Yes, and so you both had a successful military career. Now, did you coerce your son to join the military?
Interestingly, I did not, and I didn't for very selfish reasons. He's my only son. I have no more sisters and brothers, and so I was afraid not to have an heir, so I didn't. But he's grown up in and around the military. Most of the folks he knows is uncle or they're really general somebody. And so when it came time to choose a college, we looked at most colleges, Stanford, Princeton. We thought we was going to go to Princeton. In fact, we were at Princeton when he asked me, hey, Pop, why haven't you ever talked to me about the military academies? And I said, well, you never really showed any interest about going to a military academy, so I didn't think it was sort of on your top 10 list. He said, well, tomorrow we have a meeting at West Point. Cool. And we literally left that day, went up to West Point that night, and the rest is history.
Well, super. Well, I'm really proud of you and also your family and your son as well. Now, again, I was saying you take a person out of the military, but you're working for an organization now. Tell us a little about First Home Savings and Trust.
Home Savings and Trust Mortgage is a local mortgage bank, which simply means we lend our own money. It's privately owned, and the superstars of this particular organization is entirely our staff. They are both experienced and proficient at what they do. They've been around doing sort of loans for many, many years. In fact, our co-owner, George Light, 25 years of mortgage experience. We have two underwriters, one with 28 years experience, the other with 25.
Yes. Right?
We're sort of unique in that everything that involves a loan is actually done under one roof. Our location is in Fairfax, and so everything from underwriting to processing to closing is all done there. Nowadays, folks send things, different states. Each one of those different functions are somewhere else in the states, which adds time to your loan getting approved. I think secondly, too, our mortgage loan originators, they're literally 24/7, meaning during the weekdays after 5, you can get a hold of somebody.
That's great.
Right?
Yes.
On the weekends, you can get a hold of somebody. That's very unique in the mortgage business, that's for sure.
Yes, I think so. Yes. Now, how do you fit into all this?
Well, I'm a mortgage loan originator myself,
Okay.
right? And like my company, I'm licensed in D.C., Maryland, Virginia.
Okay.
I was brought on board to both train the staff and the teams on the military culture.
Okay.
Right? It was felt that knowing more about how we in the military live, right, you could actually just learn so much more about them, and it's easier to correspond with them, right?
Correct.
At the same time, you're giving them that respect that they've earned while being on military service, right? So knowing their lifestyles and customs became very important. In fact, every Monday I have a class on just that with our staff.
Yeah, that is great. And so one of the things is the VA Home Loan Guarantee Program. Could you tell us a little bit how that became into existence?
1944. It's been around since that length of time, 1944. Yes. Back when veterans were coming home from the World War II, the Congress got together and said, hey, look, we got to do something for these folks coming back. They initially thought we should give them a sum of money, but then that quickly was tossed away as a bad idea because it would break, the budget.
Correct.
It was thought then that, hey, look, we will create this loan apparatus whereby veterans can come home and have an easier way of obtaining a mortgage for a home. It would not only help the veteran, but it also helps the economy. Yes. So the veterans have been a part of the economy since 1944 in large numbers.
Yes. Okay. And is there still a need for the education and training on this loan program?
Well, that's a good question. I actually think the need is even greater now than ever before. There's a lot of veterans out there for sure, but there are organizations that take surveys on what veterans prefer. There was one such survey that's done that was based on all of those individuals who used a loan other than a VA loan. Here's what we get. 62% of the individuals say that they had no idea that the VA loan was the best loan for them. Right? We got another 31% that says they didn't know anything about the VA loan at all. Here's the most troubling stat to me. 8% say that their loan officer or their realtor actually suggested that they don't use the VA loan. Now that comes about as a result of them not being knowledgeable about it.
Right. And matter of fact, that actually brings up, I think, one of the myths in reference to it, because the VA loan is, we consider it a government program.
Yeah.
And so it's difficult.
Yeah, what's funny about that? So government programs were established for one reason and one reason only, to make it easier for normal Americans, right, to get housing. Correct. That's why all the government programs were established. In this case, with regard to the VA loan, first you have very, very flexible, as you know, very flexible credit standards to get into this loan. Yes. Okay? An individual can get I don't want to get too technical, but a debt to income ratio is very, very big. I know you know about this. Yes. Right here with regard to getting into any loan program. But the VA loan, you can take it up to 60% with the residual income. That's 60%. That is crazy. You can't get that with any other loan program. So as far as being easy to get into, it is the easiest.
Okay. Yes, and I don't see why a veteran that is something they have earned that shouldn't have, take advantage of that opportunity.
No.
Yes.
No.
Okay. And with respect to veterans, the demographics, how many veterans do we currently have in the U.S.?
Currently, we have over 20 million veterans in America, right? And that number is rising daily. And
so the population have grown as well.
Yes.
And so have we reached the 2% yet?
It's incredible. Even with those numbers, we're still 1% of the total population.
Yes.
1% of the American population serves in our military, and it's representative as well with regard to the number that are veterans, currently out in the population right now.
Yes. And what are some of the, what is the population basically in reference to some of this, the largest accumulation of veterans
Within the states?
Within the states.
So California, the top five at least are California, New York, Pennsylvania, let's see, Texas, I'm missing one, Florida, and Florida.
Okay. Yes. Well, super.
Which makes sense, right? Those
Yeah.
are still,
Yeah.
each one of those are still big populations for having bases within the states as well.
Yes. But you didn't mention the district here.
Virginia and
And
DC.
so what's the population we have here?
Well, in Maryland, well, I'll tell you what, let's start with D.C. It's the smallest number, but it's very significant. 22,000 veterans are in D.C., right? In Maryland, we have 424,000 veterans. And in Virginia, we have a whopping 785,000, which means really 1 out of every 9 individuals in Virginia are a veteran. Wow. That cumulative number is 1 million.
Wow.
Yeah.
Yes, it will. We're about to take a short break, but before we go, I would like to remind our audience that First Home Alliance is a HUD-approved housing counseling agency serving the National Capital Area. If you are a first-time home buyer or homeowner in need of mortgage assistance, I encourage you to reach out and search the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development website for a HUD-approved housing counseling agency in your area. We will be right back after the break. Stay tuned. The combined federal campaign and United Way Federation impacts quality of life nationally and across the globe. First Home Alliance, a community-based nonprofit housing counseling agency approved by the U.S. Department of Housing and Urban Development to provide comprehensive housing assistance programs to help low to moderate income and veteran families. First Home Alliance is a CFC-approved charity and proud member of the United Way of the National Capital Area. Welcome back. You're watching Rock Your Block. I'm your host, Larry Laws with First Home Alliance. And if you're just now tuning in, we're joined today with our special guest, Will, of Home Savings and Trust Mortgage. Will, before we left for the break, he was talking about the population here in the D.C. area. Yes, what are you doing to reach out to that population here?
Well, there are several things, right? I actually could turn that question right back on you. Some of that reach out is really through your organization, First Home Alliance. There are home seminars and things like that that are through the entire year that our veterans can come to.
Okay.
We obviously do different things at my organization as well. We just had a big event called Wreaths Across America, which is at Arlington National Cemetery. The opportunity to lay a wreath on a tombstone. Big event. On the 24th of this month, there's an event I think that you also are going to be attending at Prince William County Chamber of Commerce, right? Yes. Recognizing the armed forces.
Yes, salute
right?
the armed forces,
right?
Correct.
And I think later this month on the 28th at the VA Medical Center, we're having a huge event that's for all homeless veterans.
Yes.
Right? You went to it last year,
Correct,
as I well know. I will be there actually serving food for the homeless veterans.
Yes, well, I plan to attend again this year as well.
Yeah.
Yes. Well, thinking of, we're just entering in 2017. Yeah. And so back to the VA Long Home Guarantee Program, is there any changes forecast for coming this year?
Well, the biggest change has already taken place. So it actually came into effect on 1 January. So, and it came into effect because the conforming loan limits have actually increased across the country.
Okay.
Most people don't know that these loan increases actually increase county by county through America. So most of America was under, for VA loans, could get a VA loan maximum amount of $417,000. That's most of America. That has increased to $424,000. Okay. And I guess most importantly here in this area, the number was $625,500. That has increased to $636,136. So as interest rates are rising, the amount that you're able to obtain is also rising, right?
Okay.
So it's not a bad thing. Interest rates rising is not necessarily a bad thing.
Yes. And have we seen an increase in, property values?
Property
Yes, sir.
values have also
Yes.
increased as well
Yes.
so far, right? Just
Okay.
like bank accounts have. The question is, will they be maintained?
Correct.
Right? Will more people enter the market buying a home? And that still remains to be seen.
Okay. Now, with those, the increase in the loan limits, how would that, can you break that down a little bit to maybe an example how an individual here could apply for one? Because these homes here are not 417,
Right.
Right. And some of them are greater than 500. And so how would someone, modest means, how would that qualify for a loan?
So the maximum loan limit for a VA loan without any money down, right now, is $636,150.
Okay.
Suppose Larry wanted to buy a house for $200,000 more than that, right?
Okay.
VA says, look, we'll take care of our loan limit, but you will have to put down 25% of the remaining amount.
Okay.
To the sales price. In this case, it's $200,000, right? So you take $200,000, you multiply it by 25%, you get $50,000. So a veteran would come to the table for an $800,000 house with $50,000 down payment. Now, why is that incredible? Think about that if you had to get a conventional loan where you're paying 20% down on the total loan amount. That person would have to come to the table with a whopping $167,000 to get the same house. Now, the house didn't change.
Correct.
What changed was the loan instrument that was used to place a person in there. So military service really, really counts in the
Yes.
home market.
Yes. Well, with this VA loan guarantee program, some military may think, okay, that out there. And so actually VA has a bank. so they're lending us money. But I hear that word guarantee. So what is actually guaranteed?
Right. And so, let me dispel that right there. A lot of people do think VA is a bank, right? Or at least has a banking element to it. It does not. What VA does is authorize private lenders to do its loan for them.
Okay.
So take that out. In fact, on that same note, I think I told you earlier, VA doesn't even have a credit limit. Right? It has none.
Okay.
Zero. Why? Because it's not a bank.
Correct.
Right? That credit limit comes as a result of lenders. Lenders have a minimum credit limit of 620 points. To get back to your point, that guarantee actually means that VA will guarantee 25% of the total loan amount to lenders.
Okay.
Right? Just in case there's a foreclosure. Now, it's that guarantee that makes it so that lenders don't need a down payment from our military or veterans. That's what that guarantee is. I guarantee 25% should this individual have to foreclose, right? As such, lenders say, well, I don't have that need now for that down payment or mortgage insurance.
Yes. Now, versus maybe a conventional other loan that, and if they didn't have that guaranteed element in there, that would be basically a costly amount that you mentioned.
Oh,
yes.
Like that 20% for a conventional loan, it would be a costly amount because money is not free. And so there has to be some guarantee to it. Normally, it's a down payment and a mortgage insurance amount.
Yes. Okay. And speaking of the VA loan guarantee program, what are some of the features of that loan?
Some of the features of that.
Yes.
So obviously, no money down is probably the biggest feature.
Yes.
Folks don't realize that this is an assumable loan, and you don't have to be a veteran to assume a veteran loan, right? Any civilian can also assume that loan. Of course, as I said, very flexible credit standards. 620 is very, very flexible. There's a funding fee for a VA loan, but even that can be financed. Let's see. There's no mortgage insurance.
On that funding fee, is there, do everyone have to pay that funding fee?
So, very, very good question. Everyone has to pay the funding fee unless there are individuals who have 10% or more disability.
Okay.
Those individuals will never have to pay a funding fee. And let me just speak on that funding fee very quickly. The funding fee actually goes to the VA.
Okay.
It is what the VA uses when an individual does foreclose. That's where they get the 25% to send to the lender as a
Okay.
guarantee. That's where that guarantee comes from.
Okay, so they put a little bit, put it back into the pot.
Put it back into the pot.
Okay.
Yes.
Yeah, well, that's great. Okay. This VA Long, you actually attended one of the events, and thanks for coming out, being a part of that in November. An event on November the 12th at Ebenezer Baptist Church there in Prince William County. And tell me a little bit about that event. What did you take from that?
I got to tell you, one of the most remarkable events I went to last year, right? You had gathered a number of individuals from the community at Ebenezer Baptist Church, right? You had set this thing up so that there were 18 different classes you could go to. So the population could actually pick which class they wanted to go to at a particular time that benefited them the most. You had color-coded these things from green, red, and blue, just like a military guy would do, so that you could follow this right here. I think even more so, you had some of the most dynamic speakers that I've seen in a long time there, talking about budget and sort of everything that you can possibly imagine dealing with finance, mortgages, right, or actually assistance if you needed help.
Correct. Yes. Well, I really appreciate you participating in that. And also, Home Savings and Trust was actually not only a participant, but there was also a sponsor of that. And we can do a lot more in the military, I'm saying in the military, in the community as an organization, if others give back in a way that we can do more.
Absolutely.
And so I really appreciate the support there and encourage other industry partners to come out and participate and also look at opportunity to see if they can make things go
I honestly
further.
think everybody who can hear this ought to seek you out, because literally your organization, you and your organization, does what I believe is God's work. A lot of people get themselves into trouble, and some of which is no fault to their own, okay? And obviously getting in trouble with respect to a house is a huge burden, as we saw in 2007 with the crash of the market. That can trouble anybody.
Yes, and I really appreciate you coming on today.
It's a pleasure.
And we're going to have to do this again. We
Anytime. You know
we
that.
always run
Anytime.
out of time. And so, again, thanks, but you will be back.
I look forward to it.
Okay. I hope you found the amazing information that Will shared with us beneficial, and that you would share this with veterans and others in the community. If you have questions or need additional information, please do not hesitate to reach out to Will at Home Savings and Trust Mortgage. Now it's time to go to our inbox to see how we can help rock your block. This is where we share a recent question sent to us from you, our viewing audience, about financial stability and housing. Today's question comes from Arlington, Virginia. Why is the credit score that your mortgage loan officer gave me different from the one I got from Credit Karma? That's a good question. There are different scoring models, and each of them will give you a different score. There is a Vantage scoring model and a FICO model. Each of them have different versions as well. Credit Karma uses the Vantage scoring model. Vantage typically gives you a higher score depending on the version. You can score anywhere in a range from 501 to 990. The mortgage loan officer will pull a tri-merge, that is a credit report, from the three of the reporting agency, and the middle score, which is the FICO score, would be used. The FICO score range from 300 to 850. If you're using one of the credit scoring monitoring applications, be aware that it is not the same as the one your mortgage lender will use. However, if your score improves on one model, there's a good chance that it will improve on the other models as well. In closing, again, I am Larry Laws of First Home Alliance. It has been my pleasure sharing information with you about services in the community, empowering you with knowledge to enhance your financial fitness and to answer questions about housing to make your dream of homeownership a success. If you have a question, send it to our inbox and tune in to our next show to see if your question was selected to be shared with our audience. You can easily get more information about our services by visiting our website. Thank you for watching today's segment of First Home Alliance, and join us next time to rock your block.
Flex Boot Camp is a pilot program. We are seeking applicants that are serious about getting into financial shape and willing to take on the Financial Literacy Education Experience Challenge. We ask candidates for a 12-month commitment of financial management conditioning. We offer 10 financial education modules augmented by monthly confidential one-on-one financial coaching sessions. We are committed to help you reach your financial goal. Your success is our success. If you are interested, please visit our website for more information.